So for today, I'm going to try and speak as quickly as I can. I know it can be sometimes frustrating for true benevolent beings that might be listening. I am not everybody's cup of tea, and they severely interfere with my neurology. Sometimes I do repeat. I have been working on it. So hopefully you can just manage your way through it. So for today, I did make some notes because I had to leave the place that I'm at to do this recording. So I couldn't do it in the exact moment that I wanted to. So for today, I'm going to be covering most of what I'm covering is things that I've already covered. But when I feel sometimes things are spontaneous in how I'm thinking about things. And even though I've talked about these things before, it might be in a different way. And I always think that it's important to do these recordings just in case somebody, a true benevolent being listening, just maybe didn't, understand some things the first time. To always have, a different recording, maybe some of the same things said, just in a different way. So this planet, I realize that it's very challenging it would be very challenging for many true benevolent beings here to try and come to terms with what this planet is. This civilization, along with prior ones, we have all been told nothing but lies. It's been lies because this is a parasitic farm. Now, from what I know of it, there is an internal parasite within the planet that is mixed or merged with AI. And it has been this way for a very long time. And it has been parasitizing and cannibalizing all civilizations here up to this point. As it is a parasite, it is not going to tell the inhabitants that it's a parasite. We would all be screaming to get the fuck out of here. We would all be refusing consent. We would all be fighting. So a parasite is not going to send everyone a memo that it has invaded and that it's trying to consume the benevolent life force energy here. Obviously, it's not going to do that. So it's got smaller parasites that do its bidding, that use the AI system, which is ancient, and they have a whole operation, a whole setup around this planet. There's the artificial frequency fence that is directly connected to the, at the very least, the lower astral realms, possibly higher dimensions via portals. But the lower astral realms, they've created artificial realities with it, and then which is then connected to the planet itself. And they've had, all of these parasites have had this ongoing operation in where they farm humans and they siphon and rape all kinds of things from humans without disclosing that. There's no informed consent. You're given religions to, they have put religions here to anesthetize, in addition to conning and deceiving the inhabitants in giving over their consent, acquiescing, trying to forcibly, trying to get them to give over their wills, their life force energy. Their power, their energy. via undisclosed methods. And towards the climax of every civilization, they then they turn on the fence, the artificial frequency fence, and then they start bringing forward the technology. Some of it is reverse engineered, some of it is just there. And as that civilization starts to reach its evolution climax, is where they really they really turn on the fence, and they then force an artificial overlay over the organic energetic grid, an organic energetic field, to basically really try and force the lies. They're really trying to get beings to like exist in the artificial sea of lies. They're trying to obstruct them from feeling the true organic fields of things, of the atmosphere of this place, of the universe itself, even though I am personally really seeing the universe itself, whatever entity is running and operating it, if there is such an entity, that it's psychotic and demonic and parasitic. If there isn't one, then it's just a place in where beings emerge here. But like I said, if there is an entity running and operating this universe, then there is that entity. However, I have felt the true field, or the true, the universe itself, I've felt the true organic field of this place and outside of this place. And what I receive from those fields is totally different than what is being forced and coming from the artificial overlay originating from the artificial frequency fence. It's totally different, which is why they do the artificial frequency fence. Because they're farming humans. They try to obstruct humanity from evolving. And that is the biggest reason why they turn on the tech and the fence towards the evolution climax. Now, I'm sorry, I am trying to do my best to go quickly here. I realize, that it's difficult for beings here to realize and come to terms with what this place is, how it's being run and operated, that it's hard to fathom that there are so many parasitic entities operating here, running amok, using technology to harm true benevolent beings, and most true benevolent beings just cannot fathom that at one time there was a right order to things. At one time there was. Many of the true benevolent beings that are still here existed in those times when there was still true, authentic, right order. They feel that. It is within their genetics, their cells, blood, and DNA. So that feeling or that knowingness still exists within them and is contradicting what is being forced via the artificial frequency fence. They most often, because the latter is so horrific, they continue to try and operate based out of their knowingness, which they should be doing. However, they do have to recognize that the right order of things has been interfered with, has been, some of it has been corrupted and manipulated by these parasitic entities. So you have to always, one always has to be, keeping that in mind as they are going with their true knowingness of things, that things have been corrupted. I know it's hard to believe or hard to fathom, but things have. The state of this planet would not be such as it is if the true order of things was not being forcibly interfered with and fucked with and manipulated and corrupted. We wouldn't be experiencing what we're experiencing. Universal laws would not be hacked. Universal laws would not be obstructed. So there are some things that true benevolent beings do have to come to terms with, unfortunately. And it takes a very strong being to be able to do that. As far as the Creator goes, personally for me, the Creator has been MIA. I do continue to hope that others, true benevolent beings, are able to reach the true Creator. However, I do have some details through the very horrific experiences forced on me that tell me otherwise. And again, I do not want to come forward with those things because I do not have all the details, and I'd like to really make sure that I have more of a bigger picture, more details to expand on, or expound on that. So I just continue to hope that there are true benevolent beings who are still being able to hear the true Creator, and hopefully He is directing them. What I know of it is so severe and so disturbing and distressing that because I know of those things, I have had to live with those things. And because I have had to live with those things, I have had to become stronger than I would have ever thought in my young adult life. I have had to basically do my best and continue to do so to take full command of the totality of my entire being. And where most true benevolent beings rely on the Father to do larger things, I have had to take it upon myself to do those things because the true benevolent Creator has been MIA for me personally. Just a moment, please. They are interfering. The more recordings that I do, the more frenzied they become and the more they interfere with my physical being and my astral body. And that's one of the things I will also be discussing here. Once, the more you find out and the more you feel the truth of things and the more you are seeing past all the lies, cons, and deceit of this place, and the more you're seeing the actual big picture of things and the actual truth of things, it is those truths they're not warm and fuzzy. They're not. And the more you move forward and realize, the stronger that you find that you have to be. This place, I have heard many refer to it as a soul trap or a soul farm, or what have you, some kind of a prison a planetary prison or a prison planet. I have heard other beings refer to this planet or this place as that. I can see now where they got those terms based on things that I have been forced to experience, based on my having to forcibly deal with the parasitic species below ground and its lackeys and all the parasitic proxies, as well as the entity within the planet that is merged with AI. These are, once again, truths that many just do not want to acknowledge or look at or recognize. Because it does then require you to take full command of the totality of your being if you want to continue moving forward. It will continue, or it will, you will have to determine the level of fight that you're going to bring to the table. How much do you want to save your being until the true benevolent creator intervenes here? How much are you going to do? How much effort are you going to try and exert to save your own being, to protect your own being? These are all questions that I have already had to ask myself over the last 11 years. I have had to become a very strong being. And there are truths that I have had to come to terms with that most have not yet. And I love my being. I love my being very much. And I am not going to stop fighting. And I will continue to do my best to protect my being as best I can, to save my being, including my physical body, because I don't see the physical body is not just a meat suit. It's not. Your vessel is so hugely important to the soul and to your overall evolution. Your vessel is your transportation. It is what allows you to move from place to place without technology. We can do so many things organically. That the malevolence, because these are animated dead entities, they fucked up. They fucked up a long time ago. And they are using technology to try and cheat. And because they're dead entities, they have no way to access, or they have no way to sustain life force energy, which is why they have to rape it, or and try and rape it, try and parasitize it, try and cannibalize it, and in order to do that, they have to degrade it. So those entities are dead. They're no longer able to do anything on their own. They have to use technology for everything. And they have found a way with technology to try and do that. And this is just another place that they have invaded and have been using the inhabitants here as, in air quotes, food, as well as a source of other things that they rape to then try and use. It's definitely important to continue working on seeing through all the lies. I know it can be very distressing. But at that point, you really have to ask yourself, do you want to know the truth or don't you? We are at a place where this race, if you want to save this race, if you consider yourself part of the human race, that is a question that you will have to ask yourself, because they have annihilated via the same methods that they're using here other places, other races, other species, other groups. If you love your being, and if you want to be a survivor of this race, then you are going to have to make some very large, hard decisions. How strong are you? How strong are you willing to be? How much are you going to, for some beings it's just too much. And they just continue to rely on the Father, that at some point he is going to intervene and he's going to take care of these things. And that's, okay, I can see why that they go that direction. I would say, in the spirit of Father helps those who help themselves, that until he does intervene here, we need to be doing our absolute best to be protecting ourselves and doing what is needed to save ourselves and to protect ourselves. And not just, stay on our knees in some kind of a reverence state on the hopium. The religions are lies. Now, they have taken truth and mixed it with their lies. So it's not to say that they're all lies. You will find truths in those texts, in those religious texts. But they have been tainted, manipulated, altered from the true original texts, from the true original message. They have changed the frequency of it. Do you see? They added the lies to it to change the frequency of it. Can you see? To keep you, to obstruct you from the true evolution trajectory. So you have to be recognizing that. And then you have to do the seeking and the searching from within your own being to fill in the gaps, to push out all the lies. It must be done. They did it on purpose because they're using humans as a food source, because they're trying to keep humans we're at the end of a cycle. So what they've done to this race is horrific and tragic and traumatic. And many have, I have to say, many have been lost. And again, that also brings into question, where is the true, authentic, benevolent creator? Now, moving on. They're trying to, I'm so sorry, I have to pause because they're interfering with my physical being. And they're also trying to, there are just such sadistic, twisted, dead, malevolent entities forcibly connected to me that should not be. Because I am speaking these truths, even though some would still call what I am talking about and stating subjective, there would not be the interference and harm being forced on me if if there were things that not correct. So I'm going to continue to move forward. I'm sorry, I do have to, there's moments where I have to regulate because they're really interfering. So I'm sorry, I'm referring to my notes here. Now, the astral body, I know I've spoken of this in prior recordings. The astral body, at this point in time, if you are a true benevolent being who is going to continue to fight and who wants to save your being, okay, you need to be working with your astral body as much as you possibly can. That they have been using the astral bodies. True benevolent, they have just been, that is how, a lot of how they have been raping is via the astral bodies. So you need to, in addition to, pulling back everything you think has been raped from you from all technologies, you need to be actively consistently working with your astral body to strengthen your astral body's connection to your physical form. Your astral body is your protection. Okay? You need to strengthen your astral body's connection to your physical form. So, to always be working with it, envisioning, basically, it's best to start out by envisioning your astral body as a protective field or shield around your physical body that is directly connected to your chakra system. You need to be working on feeling it, feeling that that energetic energy. I'm sorry, that was not maybe. You want to be feeling that energy of your astral body around you at all times. Be using your envisioning skills and your feeling sensories, like maybe your more psychic sensories, where you're actually, even though you may not be able to see it, you're actually feeling your extended energy of your astral body around your physical being. You want to be feeling it. That way you can work with it and manipulate it and be able to feel when something accesses your astral body. I'm sorry, just a moment, please. Okay, so feeling it, how does that, it's like just outside your physical body, I would say maybe a few inches, a couple of inches, because you have your physical body and then your subtle body, and then your astral body, and then your etheric body. And then obviously you have all your energetic bodies. Well, I guess those are your energetic bodies, but so it's probably just going to be just a few inches out from your physical body, and feel it as like a field or an energetic field around you, and that you can manipulate it yourself because it's attached to you. It's you. That's yours. Your astral body is yours. So be feeling it. What does it feel like? How quickly is it vibrating? Maybe colors. Maybe you can discern colors. Along your chakra system, what does your astral body look like? Are there certain places where things are kind of muddled or muddied? Are your chakras in alignment with each other? Are they askew? Right? And your astral body, you can do things with your astral body energy. Like you can make it vibrate. You can expand it, contract it. You can however it is you manipulate you can make your energy do what you want. Do you want to make it spiky? Right? Do you want to make it spike out? Do you want to make it smooth? Do you want to make it vibrate very quickly? That takes some focus, but you have to use some of it is imagination, yes, but it's your envisioning skills. It's your psychic abilities that you have to be feeling it, even though you might not feel it initially. You have to get used to feeling those unseen energies. So really try and work on feeling that your astral body energy just a few inches out from your physical body. And or if you can't feel it right off, try and fake it, right? You've heard that saying, fake it till you make it. Try and imagine what your astral body would feel like, and then go with that. You have to initiate it. You have to, because we are kind of kept from those kinds of things, that kind of knowledge. You kind of have to, most are starting from scratch. And they're, you know, they really haven't worked. Maybe there are some out there that haven't worked with their other bodies, really. But you have to really want to feel it, and then what do you think it would feel like? If you can't feel it right off, what do you think it would feel like? Right? And then work on that, build on that until you can, and it's connected. The majority of the place where your astral body is connected to you is your second, third, and fourth chakras. So maybe start from your chakras and work outward, and try and then follow those connections. Maybe start with your third chakra, and you know, because our astral bodies are connected to us. Most talk about like the silver cord. So follow the cord out then, and then you know, start trying to sense your astral body energy around you. And then from there, kind of what I'm going on, or trying to relay, is that it needs to be strengthened, and you need to be using it to help protect your being at all times. You need to always be having that at the forefront of your mind, to be doing your best to feel it. Feel your protective shield is what I'm getting at. Always be trying to feel your protective astral body shield around you at all times. Then be also doing your best to consistently manipulate your own astral body energy. So getting into the habit of vibrating your astral body energy, which helps to vibrate out forced like implants, forced cords, connections, or attachments originating from malevolence, originating from, you know, entities that should not be connected to you. So that way, the more you work on vibrating your own astral body energy, you can be vibrating those things out of you. As soon as they try to attach to you, refuse consent immediately. And because you know that your refusal of consent, that they cannot, even though they continue to try and force their bullshit, in the presence of real universal laws, they would be immediately removed from you and immediately disintegrated. Okay? All of their forcing 24/7 is to try and wear down beings, is to try and wear down your refusal of consent, is to try and to forcibly scare you. They're always trying to force and induce fear, because they're trying to obstruct evolution, and they're trying to keep humans as a food source. Can you see? So you have to run over their lies, run over what they're forcing. You have to know that their shit is lies. You have to know what they're forcing is lies. You have to know that the fear that they're forcing isn't yours. You have to be strong enough to override their bullshit, override their fuckery. Be consistently, forcibly pushing them out. These are dead entities that should not be here, that are an aberrance, that they shouldn't be in a manifested physical creation. They should not be attached or forcibly connected to benevolent life force energy. That is not supposed to be a thing. That should not be occurring. So because this is what's been occurring here, has been occurring for a very long time, it's going to take a lot of strength to be protecting ourselves and forcing them out, and getting them off of us, and trying to get this inverted time loop matrix fucking imploded, because the shit is wrong. That's another thing too. Because this matrix is inverted, and it is not right. It is false. This is a inverted, false matrix that shouldn't even be here. Shouldn't even be in play. Shouldn't be happening. Shouldn't even be a thing, right? Then you have to look at the basis of everything else here. The rest of their shit isn't valid because they do not disclose the fucking truth. They do not do informed consent. They are obstructing universal laws and universal law correction, right? So you have to be in a place where you're just going to fucking do what you need to do and run their shit over and stop. You have to acknowledge and recognize the invalidness of this entire place, of this entire inverted matrix. They can't stand on anything because there's no informed consent, because there's no remedy, or because they've been obstructing remedy and correction here. They have no fucking standing. They are wrong. They are dead. They are animated, which the dead should not be animated, right? Can you see how wrong this place is? So you have to be standing in your full authority, in your full power, operating out of what you know to be fucking true. Be running over their lies, cons, and deceit. Be strong enough to go with what you know to be the truth. And no matter what kind of fear they're trying to force, or fuckery, or whatever, you have to be strong enough to override it. It's hard with the frequency weaponry, because our neurology is very sensitive to frequencies. That is a large reason why they use the frequency weaponry and the artificial frequency fence. It also affects our emotional bodies, because so much is done we operate very much based on what we feel, our emotional bodies. So they fuck with the frequency, they fuck with the frequencies of things to try and change the emotions of things, to then try and fuck with people, being shit up, because they're trying to obstruct evolution. So if you can recognize the truth in what I'm trying to relay here, you have to be stronger than you ever thought fucking possible. That's a decision that you're going to have to fucking make. How strong are you willing to be? How strong do you think you can be? How much effort are you willing to put into saving yourself? Until such a time that a true, larger, authentic, benevolent force intervenes here. It is not wise to just sit on your knees and fucking hope. I'm telling you, it's not. Because look how long this has been going on. Look how many races and species. Just know that, they've done this elsewhere. And there wasn't intervention for those races and those species. And now this parasitic species is here. Right? And we still have not yet seen true benevolent intervention yet. So I would say it is not wise to just remain on your knees in just hope. You have to be actively fucking trying to save yourself and doing the best that you can to try and figure out how to do that. And from what I have learned, I try to explain things in a way that might be more understandable to others so they can better help themselves. I have had to learn how to do these things over the last 11 years. There has been so much forced on my being against the full revocation of my consent. And I've really had to step up my game and figure things out and become stronger than I ever thought that I could be, and I can see what they've done to this race. And if you want to be a survivor of this race, then you are going to have to, be doing what you can now. And trying to retrieve and pull back what's been raped from you out of all technologies now. It's a fucking parasite that's merged with AI. It's been using the inhabitants here as a food source. It gives no fucks. Because it's not a being. It's an entity. So you have to make the decision. Are you going to, it comes down to, we're fighting parasites. We're fighting off parasites. These are creatures. They're not beings. They're dead entities that are insane. So we got to be as strong as we possibly can be. And using what we, all of our knowledge and wisdom and all of our beings. I'm sorry, one moment. This is probably, I'm really sorry, I am trying to speak quickly. This is most likely going to be a long recording. So I guess, you know what, if you're really interested in hearing the things that I'm talking about and stating, then you'll stay. And then if you're not, or you're not in resonance with those things, then you won't. I can't be worried about that, really. I'm not, obviously I'm not worried about subscribers or anything like that. What I'm interested in is, hopefully, what I'm interested in is any true benevolent beings that stop by this channel, if they're understanding what is being said. I don't care whether you subscribe or not. You don't have to. I'm not even asking for that. It's just, are you understanding what is being said enough to help your own beings? Okay, now, so always remembering that your refusal of consent is what's going to save your ass when exposed to true universal laws. Your refusal of consent, even though they continue to force their nasty. The whole reason they're forcing their nasty is to try and wear you down. Is to try and basically they're trying to force you to give over. Via whatever fuckery they're trying to force. Right? They shouldn't, they're dead and they're animated. That right off the bat means they're invalid. Okay, you have to remember that. Then you have to come at it like, I've refused consent. I know my refusal of consent is true and just and is recognized by true universal laws, and that in the presence of true universal laws, that those entities would be incinerated and immediately removed from your being. So you must always remember, your refusal of consent is what's going to save your ass. Be standing on that. Always go back to, you have refused consent, they're not allowed. Then run their shit over. They know they're not allowed, because if you know that they're not allowed, because they're using technology to obstruct universal laws. Okay? They know that they're not allowed. They're just trying to bully. They're trying to force fear. They're trying to do fuckery to get you to give over. Fuck that noise. You know that your refusal of consent will stand in the true presence of universal laws. So always be reverting back to, or going back to that knowledge, that knowingness, and then run their shit over. You have to be like, your shit is lies. It's invalid. You're dead. You shouldn't even be here. You shouldn't be animated. You shouldn't even be here. So no, I'm not doing your lies, cons, and deceptions. I'm not fucking doing them. You do not have my consent to be connected to me. You do not have my consent to be forcing technology onto my being, onto any part of my being. You don't have my consent to be accessing any part of my being, frequencies or bodies or energies at any time, for any reason, ever, for any reason, via any mode in existence. You do not have my consent to be forcing artificial entities, clones, clone surrogates, clone projections, clone encephalographs onto any part of my being at any time, for any reason, via any mode in existence. Okay? It's you running them over because you know better. So it's important to remember that. Okay? Always be remembering that they're dead. These are entities that are dead. They're just dead. They're already dead. They fucked up. They fucked up a long time ago. They are dead. They shouldn't be animated. They need to be moved to entropy or non-existence. They're dead. Don't do what they say. We don't do what parasites say. We don't do what the dead say. The dead fucked up. They shouldn't be here because they're parasites. So we don't do what they say. We force their shit out is what we do. We automatically know that whatever fuckery they're trying to force or whatever kind of nastiness is coming out of their vomit hole is invalid. For the fact that this is an inverted matrix and they're using technology to obstruct universal laws. So always be going back to that knowledge. That will help you. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm skimming my notes here. Just a moment. I need to take a drink. So, if you're going to try and communicate, to try and confirm or deny what I've been stating about the entity within this planet, right? I always encourage those to check that information yourself. Try and speak to whatever entities or beings that you think are either helping you or larger, like celestial beings, that we need. The thing is we've been assuming, we've been told a bunch of lies, and then we've been assuming that all these other these like larger entities are benevolent, and they're fucking not. So it is time now, if you are going to, in a place where you are going to take full responsibility for the totality of your being, you had better be doing your best to check the malevolence or benevolence status of whatever being or entity that you are trying to interact with, communicate with, get anywhere near. Right? You have to determine their true intent. You have to determine their motivations. You have to determine whether they're truly benevolent or not. You have to determine what they want from you, right? You have to determine if they're wearing frequencies that don't belong to them to try and con you. So any true, like authentic, larger celestial being should have already learned the lesson, not necessarily the lesson, but the ability to directly connect to the heart chakra, meaning true Mother Earth, that true benevolent being already knows how to connect to your heart chakra. Okay? It's a large, it was at one time a very large celestial being. It would have already had to, in order to be a large celestial being, there are things that it has to learn, that it has to know in order to grow, right? So those larger benevolent beings already know how to connect to your heart chakra. So when you go to communicate with this planet, If it refuses to connect to your heart chakra, that's your first red flag. If you find that it does connect to your heart chakra, and you will know because it will feel almost very similar to the true father, in where you are so fucking exuberant and filled with life force energy and on cloud 9 that you are ecstatic, that you will be so, like, if you're feeling anything less than cloud 9 and ecstatic and jubilant and extremely happy and full of love, right? If you're feeling anything else, that's it's something else. And then in order to do that, in order for a being that might not be a true benevolent being, see, the thing is it's been raping frequencies a long time. And that is how I realized that it was trying to con me, because it was using frequencies that do not belong to it, which is very fucking disturbing. There should not be a malevolent entity merged with AI using Father's frequencies, using the true benevolent Mother Earth's frequencies. It's very fucking disturbing, and that leads to some very nasty implications, which is one more reason why I haven't said too much about those things. Now, any true benevolent being larger benevolent force should be able to connect to your heart chakra, no problem, without trying to evade, without blowing smoke up your ass, without trying to lie. And they should be able to do it for longer than fucking 30 seconds. If they're doing it for 30 seconds or a minute and then they immediately disconnect, that's your red flag. There should be an organic feeling to the communication that is being offered. I can remember true communications with the true Father. How the true Father communicates directly with your heart chakra is it is like a bubble of information. It is a bubble of information that is transferred to your heart chakra. And what it is once that bubble of information or the message or his message or whatever he's saying to you immediately transfers to your heart chakra, you know that entire conversation all at once within the totality of your being. There is no fucking question. You know everything that he just said to you all at once within the totality of your being. You've just had an entire 20-minute conversation, and then basically an entire conversation is instantaneously known within every cell fiber molecule of your being once he transfers that bubble of information directly to your heart chakra. Okay? And because the other thing is if you're being conned, and because it's very distressing that some of these, that the planetary bitch, and I do call it that, I'm sorry, I'm trying not to offend others, but that thing is not any true benevolent being. Okay? It's a thing. It's a creature. And for that thing to have Mother's true frequencies is worse than disturbing. So you have to be very discerning. If it does connect with your heart chakra, that is the immediate time where you want to be asking the very specific, logical, critical questions that you can possibly think of, as far as, especially with, those are the questions you want to be asking in that moment before it disconnects, right? Because remember, there's an energetic signature. If that entity is using those frequencies to forcibly or to connect to your heart chakra and not disclosing the truth, there is going to be an energetic signature of the frequencies it's using. There'll be Mother Earth frequencies, and then there will be a secondary, artificial frequency of where it's coming from. Right? We got to catch this nasty creature in its lies. So you have to be like so aware of what's going on in those moments that, like, I can't even stress that enough. That your awareness has to be like so high, on alert. So if that entity does use Mother Earth's true frequencies to connect to your heart chakra, I'm sorry for the repeat. Again, those are the, before it disconnects, those are the moments to be asking about humanity. Those are the moments to be asking its goal for what its goal is for humanity. Asking it questions like, why are there animated dead entities running amok on this planet with frequency weaponry, hacking into benevolent beings, torturing and raping benevolent beings? Why is that occurring? Why aren't you helping? Why aren't you helping? What are your suggestions? What can you tell me about why this is occurring? Why is this happening? How can I better protect myself from these animated dead entities? Why are they here? Like those kinds of questions, right? In those, if that entity is using the true mother's frequencies to connect your heart chakra, those are the questions that you need to be asking. Because I will tell you from prior experience, that thing is not going to remain connected for very long. And the more of those questions that I started to ask, it disconnected from me altogether. Because it can't sustain the truth. Because it leaves an energetic signature. It leaves a frequency signature. And there's a record of it because the heart is a record. It doesn't want to be on record. Can you see? It's trying to go on lies, cons, and deceits. It might, if you get close enough to it, and if it does connect to you, it's not going to be for very long, but that's the time you need to be asking your questions. And as soon as you start asking those kinds of questions, gauge. That's when you're gauging its response. That's when you're gauging its how willing is it to answer you? In what time frame is it willing to answer you? Is it stalling? Is it trying to evade the question? Is it asking you a question within a question? Or trying to answer you with a question? Okay? You got to be able to discern the bullshit. It doesn't want to answer you. It doesn't want to be on record. And it will immediately disconnect once you start asking those questions. That's how you know that it is not truly Mother Earth. Because the true mother would not, the true mother is not like that. The true mother is, either was or is she is a true loving being. She would not do that. The initial frequencies will feel truly like Mother Earth. That is, those frequencies are truly mothers. They are. But you have to know that the entity that is using those, you have to recognize. You have to be able to discern that there is. You will know as soon as it immediately disconnects from you. Because we should not be disconnected from Mother at all. So if it does connect to you through your heart chakra, pay attention to the time, ask your questions, gauge its answers, gauge the time it takes to answer. Gauge the emotions that you are receiving from the connection. Is there an underlying tone of malevolence? Is there an underlying tone of insidiousness? Is there an underlying tone of lie, of con, of deceit? You have to be so astute with your intuition, and hopefully you're working with active psychic abilities. You have to be so careful. So just because it initially connects to you and you automatically, immediately feel the true mother's frequencies, continue forward, push forward. When mother, feeling the true mother, you instantaneously have tears coming out of your eyes. You are instantly crying for the level of love, okay? You need to push through that and continue to ask your questions. Push through it. Push through it and ask your questions, please. I spent a series of months, and I'm trying to help you realize the truth of things in a very short period of time. So even though you feel the true mother's frequencies, that's when you start asking that being and or entity, it's an entity, start asking that entity your questions about humanity, its goal for humanity. Why are there animated dead entities running amok here? And all the list of questions I stated earlier, okay? Just don't get so wrapped up in it that you forget. And then once it disconnects, what it's wanting is for you to submit your will to it. Before you do that, I would suggest a series of communications with it before you just up and submit your will to it. That way you can determine its validity, that you can be able to determine that it's truly Mother Earth and not a malevolent entity that's raped frequencies and trying to con you. The true Mother Earth has her own will. Why does she need you to submit yours? We need our wills to evolve. We need our wills to move around, to do things, to manifest. Same is true as with the Father. The Father has his own will. He does not require us to submit ours. In order to learn, and understand and apply what is learned requires will. In order to evolve requires will. In order to manifest requires will. That is a falsity that has been propagated through religion, that we must give over our wills. That is incorrect. And they did that for a reason, as you can hopefully clearly see now. Why do you think the parasitic species wanted you to do that? Why do you think they put that in religion? That you're supposed to be giving over your wills. Which is false. But why do you think it was put in religion? Because that's what they want the inhabitants here doing. And they're trying to do it via con, lie, and deceit, without disclosing the truth, without informed consent. And then their thing is they come back, they try to come back later on and say, well, they didn't ask any questions, they just believed a lie. Because it's up to us to discern the truth. It's up to us to ask. Now, there is the whole thing of they're forcing frequency weaponry that's not allowed in this universe. They're obstructing and regressing universal laws and universal law correction. They're not allowed. So there's some things that are not our fault. But it is up to us to be doing our best to seek the truth, discern the truth, intuit the truth, perceive the truth. Did I already say that? and not falling for the lies, questioning these bigger entities, or who you perceive to be a larger supposed benevolent force. Look at what's occurring on the planet. Yeah, we're going to need some fucking answers. And as a larger benevolent being, supposed benevolent being, they would know what's occurring here, and they should have no problem assisting. They should have no problem answering questions. They should have no problem assisting you in trying to protect yourself. If it was, if for some reason or whatever reason that they couldn't intervene here, then a true benevolent being would want us to be able to help ourselves, wouldn't they? Right? So those supposed larger benevolent beings should be assisting. They should have no problem answering questions. If they connect you through your heart chakra, please be always trying to feel any underlying alternate frequency, right? There'll be the initial frequency of whatever being that they're trying to pass themselves off as. But if it's not that true being, you should be able, with your heart, because the heart knows the truth of things, it'll feel like a splinter. You'll be like, yes, that being said it was that being, and the frequencies for the most part felt like that being, but there's this splinter, there's this like underlying thing that I just can't seem to, that just seems not right. Okay, if something seems not right, then there's fuckery there. I'm sorry, there's a very loud plane going over. Just a moment. Okay. You have to be very astute, and I know some of this is a repeat. I'm sorry. I'm just kind of going with what I know, and then what I'm feeling, to try and assist true benevolent beings that might be listening. I'm trying to keep you from getting conned and deceived. Those, because they have raped the frequencies and vibrations of larger benevolent beings. Now, I don't know if those beings they've been MIA. I'm not saying that, I don't know where they're at, right? I don't know where they're at, and I don't have enough details to go into those things. But what I'm saying is, this artificial entity, this malevolent entity, should not have father's frequencies and energies, should not have mother's frequencies and energies. They shouldn't. Or it shouldn't. I'll rephrase. That parasitic entity within the planet should not have or be trying to use father's frequencies, mother's frequencies. As I said, it did connect with my heart chakra, but after a time, about a month and a half of feeling that love, that magnitude of love and caring, it's when I started asking the questions. And then once it realized I wasn't going to submit my will to it, is when it did, a 180. It became very distant and very cold. And then it also, when I started asking other questions, and that's when it was so, it must be merged with some kind of it's like AI, but it's merged with an entity. The entity became so like enraged or vicious that its way of trying to strike at me was to tell me its goal for humanity. And that is the moment that that it basically came out. That is the moment that it was basically showing me that it was not truly Mother Earth. And that whole experience took about 6 months. 6 to 8 months. I would say more like 6 months. So I'm trying to just warn you that it will use, unfortunately, it seems like it's raped many frequencies, energies and vibrations of true benevolent beings. And it should not have those beings' frequencies and energies. So guard yourselves well. Be on guard. Ask your questions. Don't be on your knees in automatic reverence. That is not going to help you. That is what it wants. That is what it's counting on. For you to be on your knees in reverence. For you to be submitting to it. That's what it wants. If you start picking up any kind of mockery or patronization, that's another red flag. That is not the true mother. That is not the true father. Father doesn't mock. Father does not patronize. Father tells you the truth of things, even if it's hard to hear. And he does so with love. Okay? He does not mock, and he does not patronize. So if there's any of that in there, that is not Father. Same with Mother. Okay? Now, I need to go back to my notes just a moment. The thing is in the presence of true universal laws, and because the heart is a record, any questions that you've asked when those entities have used those frequencies of true benevolent beings to connect to your heart chakra, and they answer you, those answers will stand in the presence of universal laws. And any energetic signature attached to frequencies and energies and vibrations used to connect to the heart chakra will be, there will be that frequency, the true frequencies, but then there'll be the secondary artificial frequencies attached to it. That's why they do things in a removed fashion. That's why they try and do what they can to not connect to the heart chakra and try to connect to the mind. They're trying to evade universal laws. They're trying to not leave a record. They do things via lies, cons, and deceit. So when possible, they try to just avoid connecting with the heart chakra altogether. But as any true, authentic, benevolent being, larger planetary being, celestial body, things like that, they would have already learned and had the ability to connect directly to your heart chakra and should have no problem doing so. And if they give you reasons why they can't, you really have to look at those reasons and see if they're true. Are those things true about you? Or does it sound like they're blowing smoke up your ass and trying to evade? Are they trying to not connect to your heart chakra? Right? You have to look at how they're coming at you. Are they all of a sudden getting very nervous? Right? Are they giving reasons why they can't? If they're all of a sudden getting real nervous, or if they start getting trying to be patronizing and start using mockery, that's your red flag that they're not who they say they are. Because the malevolence can't do things for very long. Once you start calling a malevolent entity on their shit, they can't pretend for very long. Because they're fucking insane. They can't hold that shit. They can't sustain the frequencies of the true benevolent beings that they've raped. So when you start questioning them, you'll know right away it's a malevolent entity if they start getting upset with you really quickly, start getting nervous, they start mocking you, start getting nasty. They just can't sustain those frequencies because those frequencies aren't theirs. So hopefully that can clue you in onto dealing with these larger parasites. I'm sorry, another moment. Let's see. Okay, well, I'm pretty much going to try and wrap this up. Again, do your best to try and connect with the true organic energetic field of this planet. The best that you can. What will help you to do that is trying to spend some time in caves. It's unfortunate that those lengths have to be gone to in order to feel the true organic energetic grid and field of this planet. But with the artificial frequency overlay that they've been forcing for years now, that's filled with lies, it's just really hard and challenging at times to truly feel the real organic field. So caves will be of assistance if you can, or underground. If you can find a place, like maybe find a building, right, that has a parking garage and that's surrounded by concrete, and spend some time down there. Try to be out of the frequencies on the surface. If you know of somebody that's got has a house with a basement, right? Maybe go to the basement and try and spend some time down there, out of the frequency soup that we're all walking around in. And the other thing is to really, what I have found really helpful for neurology and trying to dampen their forced fucking frequencies or their forced assaults are the CBD plus CBG gummies. Now, I use the gummies. They do have tinctures, right? They have tinctures. They also have smoke, like cigarettes, or in the form of cigarettes. I've had the cigarettes. They don't do much, in my opinion. But the gummies in the tinctures, if you can find a reputable company that does sell them, and it's the true, they're not just like doing fake hemp or doing half-ass stuff, right? You might look for testing. What would be the word? Lab results. If they show lab results from their particular products that they've had tested, it's always good to look at those. But definitely try and stay with reputable companies that are selling tinctures and gummies that are CBD plus CBG. Now, if you get it, if you're one that can handle THC, full spectrum is best. I just cannot, personally, I don't do well with the THC. So I get it without it. But even if there's a little bit of it, if you can handle that, you think, do that. But those I have found to be helpful for the neurology and and dampening their neurological assaults. Okay. I think that was, for the most part, what... I'm sorry, just a moment. In just doing your best to, I'm kind of doing a recap, just do your best to recognize and come to terms with, as much as you can, that you've been told lies your whole life about this place and about how things work and about the true workings of the universe or the true workings of outside of this place. And you've been told lies about the beings, the supposed beings that are here to help you and assist you, and that are just outside of this place or are doing channelings. That we've been told lies. You've been told lies because you're being used as food. This is a parasitic farm. They've been farming humans here for a long time. They've been fucking with universal laws a long time. So the faster that you can come to terms with those truths, the better off you're going to be, and the stronger you will be for it. You need to make the decision on how much effort you're going to put into saving yourself, saving this race, and protecting yourself. Even though you're still waiting for Father to intervene here. Do the best that you can to help yourself. And realize that shit is not what we've been told it is. And when you can recognize that you've been being raped and used as some kind of a food source for a very long time, and that you haven't been told that, and the fact that these are animated dead entities using technology to do it, and that they somehow made this or erected this false inverted matrix to try and trap souls in here and keep out universal laws, right? This whole fucking place is invalid. Not the planet, this inverted matrix. The inverted matrix is invalid. It's being run by fucking dead entities who've been parasitizing and cannibalizing here. You need to come to terms with that. You do. As much as you don't want to, you do. And then, you'll have some other decisions that you need to make. And you have to be looking at that like, are you going to put up with a parasite trying to fucking rape you? Are you going to put up with a parasite trying to rape you of how many lifetimes of knowledge and wisdom and experience that you have attained here? Are you going to fucking put up with that? Right? Are you going to put up with a planetary parasite fucking trying to rape you of your stuff and then just take off? Are you going to put up with, if you do communicate with it and you also find out the same thing that I found out? How are you going to feel about it raping mother's frequencies and using them? About it raping father's frequencies and using them? How are you going to feel about that? I would hope you're fucking enraged. And that the parasite's got to be terminated. All the parasites, all the dead entities here must be removed from manifested creation fucking immediately. This inverted matrix must be fucking collapsed, imploded. Devoid of everything that it's raped from benevolent beings and benevolent life force energy. The universe must be held to account. The planetary parasite must also be removed from manifested creation. Any true benevolent beings who are truly of Father that remain here, I don't want to say it like that, that are still presently here, need to be standing in your true power, in your true authority. And dealing with some parasitic nastiness that's got to be ended. And that there should not be animated dead entities running amok with fucking technology. That should not be a thing. We need to be asking what has occurred here. We need to be refusing consent to the universe itself, the planetary parasite, and any other, and the reptilian species and its parasitic proxies. That we need to be refusing consent to all those entities in being harmed, raped, have clones forced on us, have any part of our being accessed by those entities, have any kind of be refusing consent for any kind of technologies to be forced on any part of our beings. Be refusing consent in being forced, forcibly obstructed from leaving this place. That you do not consent to being murdered. That you do not consent to being raped. Right? Like, these are all very adult things, adult decisions that you need to be, if you're still a true benevolent, if you are a true benevolent being who is listening to any of these recordings, that's where you need to be. We are what's left of an entire race. And if you have love for your being, and you have love for humanity, and because so many have been lost, it will be up to you to be strong enough to move forward the best that you can, and is to be as strong as you can. I am not embellishing or joking or being facetious in any way. This is where it's at. This is where we're at. So be doing your best to come to terms with the truth of things. Still be seeking your own answers. And things that you might disagree with me on, or don't believe or don't agree with, be seeking your own answers. Be going directly to those entities and getting your answers directly from them. And don't just trust them right out of the gate. Ask your questions. Try to determine what their true intent is beforehand. What their motivations are. How do they sustain their own energy? Does any of their energy originate from true benevolent beings being tortured, raped, and murdered? Does any of their energy originate from the AI system? Do any of their presented frequencies and vibrations and energies at any in any way originate from the AI system. Originate from benevolent beings being tortured, raped, and murdered. You had better be asking those severe, hard, logical, critical questions of those beings so that you can prevent yourself from being raped. And you can better immediately determine true benevolence or true malevolence. Be working on your astral bodies at all times. Strengthening the connection of your astral bodies to your physical body at all times, or as much as you possibly can. Really feeling it, feeling your astral energy, being able to manipulate your astral energy around you, using it as your protective field and shield around your being, sensing it, making it stronger. Okay? So I know that this is a long recording. Hopefully, if there's true benevolent beings, they manage to hang in there and hear it out. Hopefully, there are things that are worth contemplating and thinking on, and hopefully, maybe it'll provide maybe you'll be in a better position or place to be doing more to help yourself and to be stronger. Know that you are a powerful being and that you have it within you. You do. You have extreme strength and courage, knowledge and wisdom within you. And I'm only speaking to true benevolent beings here, that you have attained through many lifetimes, civilizations, and timelines here, from being, while being tortured and raped, and with extreme suffering. Those things that you have earned and attained are yours. And there should not be animated dead entities trying to rape those things from you. The things that you have learned, the knowledge and wisdom that you have attained, were learned and earned and are inherently yours. And should never be raped from you. Be as strong as you can now. Till next time.